So John, welcome to Scotland Tonight.
Thank you.
You're on tour at the moment. Is your mission with this show to rebuild your public reputation?
Well, that is, I don't think it's about to rebuild my public reputation, it's to rebuild my career and things that were stripped away from me or taken away from me. The public reputation, I have to say, that one thing that I have found out as I've done the shows and as I've been traveling around and as I've done conventions all over the world, my fan base and the popularity with myself amongst the fans of the shows that I've been on has not changed. It's the perception of the people in the industry that they've pushed their own agenda on it, and they are the ones who have changed the situation, whereas the fan base has not. So it's not so much rebuilding my reputation with the fans or the public, because I'm not apologizing for anything. So, you know, I've done that years ago. I don't have to do it again. So it's about rebuilding career because for 2.5, 3 years, I just really haven't done anything.
Well, we'll get to that, but as you say, you were a popular face on TV until a few years ago, and that's down to these revelations about your behaviour on set on Doctor Who and Torchwood.
Well, it wasn't so much as behaviour, because I think it was a lot misconstrued, and the things that were. The only thing I can put it down to is if I were doing a nude scene. And, you know, Russell T Davies even spoke about this himself. He said when Barrowman was doing a nude scene down on set, everybody would come down from the office to watch. And so there was an element of fun and silliness that would go on. And that's on one of the DVDs that they did. I'm sure that they've pulled now.
You thought it was silliness and a bit of carry-on, but do you think everyone else did?
Nobody complained.
You were the star of the show. Would people
I was
complain?
I was one of the stars of the show, but nobody complained. Nobody complained in the sense.
You get the power dynamic, though, don't you? If you know,
I wouldn't
if you're
do it
the
now.
Star.
I would not do it now.
But you know, if you're the star, people maybe don't feel that they complain if you're one of the stars.
Well, but on Doctor Who, I was not the star. David was the star. I was one of the companions in Torchwood. But everybody was doing outrageous, silly things. It's just that they weren't dragged into the situation by a piece of lazy journalism.
Yeah, but you've described it as, you know, kind of exuberant behaviour, but you were basically flashing at your colleagues.
No. This is where it gets a little misconstrued. I was not walking around flashing people randomly and doing things like that. As I said, if I were doing a nude scene and I was asked to come to set and I would come down on set, I sometimes would say, they'd say, do you want to go back to the trailer? I said, no, just leave me here. And it was meant to be a closed set. And I'd say, leave me here and let's save time. I'll just stand here and it'll save time that I don't have to go back. I have to change, then you have to bring me back and we have to start all over again. So I would stand there if I was in a nude scene, completely naked, and if somebody walked on set or which they weren't supposed to, or they were, I might just do something like that, silly, and go, hey, and it was nothing outrageous in I didn't see it as outrageous.
I mean, do you think it was appropriate? Because if you were to do that, I mean...
It was a different time.
Yeah, but I mean, most people don't behave like that at their place of work. Do you know what I mean?
But most people, if you're an accountant or I know this is one of the big arguments, but in the theatre world and the television world, when we are doing things and having to change and do, and it's very different now when you have, and it's right, there should be intimacy coaches and all that kind of stuff. We didn't have that. We didn't have that back then. And any of the leading ladies that I've ever worked with or people that I've worked with, you can always ask them. We always discuss things prior to doing stuff if it was a love scene or something like that. We always had the discussion and I always made sure that they were comfortable with what was being done. Now, that's nothing to do with the silliness or the stupidity. But like I said, it was a different time, and we wouldn't do it now. We just wouldn't.
But do you regret your behaviour?
I don't regret anything.
You don't regret this behaviour?
It's not so much regret. I mean, it was something that was stupid and silly and was done. I don't look back and go, because at the time, everybody was laughing. Everybody on set was having a laugh. And are you sure about
that? You're very confident about it. But how do you know you weren't making people feel really uncomfortable?
Right, but if there is anybody who, and I say this wholeheartedly, if anybody is upset or anybody was offended or was so, upset by it, tell me and I will come to you personally and I will apologize. Because what it was, when it all came out with another gentleman's story who was being accused of something, and it was him exaggerating and over-exaggerating behaviour that he said that I was involved with. And when that all came out, it was... Sorry, it's difficult to talk about.
Yeah. Do you feel you've been treated unfairly?
I feel I've been treated unfairly by the industry. Because like I said, the fan base is still there. I feel like the industry, which is, as I sit back and look into it now, I remember the first phone call that I got on the day that it happened, the story came out, and I thought it would only last a week. But then realizing that I was good clickbait for the red tops and all the different things, it just continued. But, I had a producer call me and say, they're calling us for a quote. And I said, well, you can give them a quote. It's up to you to say what you want to say. And apparently, as I heard through the grapevine from others, things that they said, that there was no complaints, nothing, untoward was complained about, was never printed.
So do you feel you've been blackballed by the industry?
Oh, I've been blacklisted. I've been blacklisted completely, because the day that happened, I remember also they said, well, we've got to go, and they were going to go speak to talk to the other person who was being accused of stuff. And they said, we're just worried about him. And I sat in the kitchen, and I remember saying to my husband, Scott, I said, what about me? What about me? They're just, they probably, and again, maybe they didn't think it was that big of a deal, but that was it. That was the start of it. And it was about 2.5 years of complete devastation, career-wise.
Yeah, because you were a primetime face. You were a judge on Dancing on Ice, weren't you? Do you think you can get back to that?
I don't know.
Level of TV career?
I don't know. And if it does happen, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm perfectly happy. I remember when I was younger, I said I'd be perfectly happy doing shows, by myself, or at that time in the West End, or if it was on Broadway, I was perfectly happy doing that. And at the moment, with doing concerts and stuff, it's shown me again why I'm here and what I'm meant to do, and that's to entertain people.
Would you be happy though? Because you sound to me like you sound quite angry almost about the way you've been treated.
There is, and I have to say, because I'm still going through stuff with it, because I've contemplated taking my life a couple of times. I've driven out to the desert in Palm Springs and sat there for hours upon hours thinking of different ways to do it that would be quick and easy. But then I talk myself out of it because I can't do it because of my mum and dad and all that kind of stuff. And then I also go in my head that others are winning if I do that kind of thing. But I've been in therapy for it. I've seen people about it. I don't know if it's so much anger, but it's tough to talk about. I mean, I feel myself getting nervous about it and talking about it.
So you would be at peace if you couldn't return to that level of your career then on television? And
well, I've had that level. That's the other thing. I've been there. I've done it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I mean, there's no point living in what ifs, because you deal with the day daily as you go through it, and that's what I do now. I just deal with the day and what the day brings, and rather than sitting, which I did for a long time, sitting on worrying about how you can change it, how you can fix it, how you can do that. No, just go on and do it. So I think there's more disappointment when you say that feel angry. It's more disappointment in the people that were around me that literally turned their backs on me.
I mean, you have had a great career, and you were on Doctor Who. What was it like to be part of such a hugely popular show? I mean, it's iconic,
Oh,
isn't
it is. It's amazing. And that was a show that led me to Arrow in the States. It led me to, you know, to Desperate Housewives. Lots of people who were fans of Doctor Who at that time. Then it led me to other jobs. So, you know, I always say Captain Jack changed my life, and he did. And it was an amazing, amazing run, an amazing time that we had. And still to this day, I still travel all over the world to conventions, and still to full houses, to stand up in front of them and have a laugh and tell my stories and all that kind of stuff. And that's the good thing. That's the good thing.
I was going to say, what's the highlight of your career? But it sounds perhaps that Doctor Who was.
Well, no,
it,
there's. I mean, one of the highlights of my career, I say, was when I took my mum and my dad and you know, and my husband Scott to the Palace to get my MBE. That was a highlight because I was an openly gay man who was there with his husband and family, who was being represented. I wore my kilt. I wore you know, I was very proud of it. So that's a highlight. There are many, many different highlights of my career. I never say about that I have a favourite, or because people ask me that question all the time. What's your favourite role that you've played? What's the favourite you've done? And I say I don't have favourites. All of them have a great significance. And Captain Jack, if I were to rattle them off, Captain Jack and Cole Porter probably are two of the kind of upper echelon of the things that have had a big impact.
So, as I said, you're on tour at the moment with your show called Laid Bare.
Correct.
What can people expect from the show?
Oh, people, they know they're going to be entertained. They know when they come in, I set the tone for everything in the first couple of minutes, and we launch into going back and telling stories and from my career, not all the way from the beginning, but I kind of, you know, just put them around and not in a timeline form, but I tell different stories, personal stories. I talk about what we've talked about. I tell it in the way that I know the best way to do it, which is through song and story. But it seems that everybody the comments that we're getting back, people have said to myself and producers and that this is the best kind of show that I've done in a long time, because it's the most upfront, it's the most personal, and they feel like they're getting to see a part of me that they would never see before.
Oh, well, good luck with the rest of the tour, John Barrowman. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.